Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Charles, trauma expert, neuropsychologist, and neurodiversity advocate. Today, we're talking about pets, how they can help heal, provide a sense of purpose, but they can also be more than we bargained for. My special guest is a reggaetonera who just wanted to adopt a cat. You're gonna want to watch this. This isn't your average pet adoption story. Everyone, welcome Precious Perez to the show, singer, activist, artist, and the one and only reggaetonera ciega, a blind Latina powerhouse who recently decided it was time for a furry companion. Precious, can you tell us a little about yourself and what brought you to this decision?
Absolutely. So my name is Precious Perez. I am a blind Puerto Rican woman with dark curly hair, and I am a singer-songwriter primarily in the Latin space. I'm also an actress, author, and activist. My husband and I bought our house in November of 2024. Ever since we got our own space, I've just been wanting a cat. I have wanted something to love on and really care for and nurture, in addition to giving back to my family and my friends. I've always loved animals. I love all the baby animals and all the small children, and I would save them all if I could. So that's kind of what led me to wanting to make this work.
But the cat that you adopted, I understand, turned out to be a little feral.
The thing about Billy is that he was a stray and he was taken in. And so Shane and I went to meet him, and he didn't want me to pet him. He hissed a little bit, but it was very gentle. Like, there was no aggression. It was just like, please don't do that. So we sat with him for a little while. He ate while we were in the room. I was home alone with him for the next week, and he would follow me everywhere. He was very vocal, and he was so sweet. He was such a sweet boy. But then one night, I went to go give him some food. I went to go follow him into the next room because I noticed that he wasn't at his food bowl. And I got down on his level and I was just there next to him, and all of a sudden he scratched me. And so I jumped up in surprise and I turned around, and then I tried to back away slowly and he hissed again. And so I was like, oh man, I can't move until he moves, because if I move, he's gonna follow me. Like, I knew that. So eventually he calmed down enough to move away, and he went to his cat tree, and I just stood there like paralyzed because I didn't know what to do, and I was home alone. I'm like, oh man, if something goes really wrong, what am I gonna do? So luckily I was online with some friends at the time, and they were like, he's not gonna hurt you. If he was gonna do that, he would have done it already. But it all escalated the following day. I was getting ready to leave, and my Grammy came over to take me to do some errands. She went to give him a treat, and he didn't want it, so she pulled it back to put it away, and he went for her. He was hissing and growling and tracking her every time she would try to move away. And then he ran back toward me, hissing. So I got scared and I closed myself in the guest room. And he stood guarding the door where I was, just growling. And I didn't know, like, I felt like if I moved when he was there, he was going to try to come for me. I was on the phone with Shane. I was like, Shane, oh my goodness, like, I don't know what to do. This is too much for my nervous system right now. Eventually, I told Grammy, like, go outside and wait for me, but she got worried, so she opened the front door. Well, whenever he had heard the front door previously, he would always run to hide under my bed, and that's what he did. So I was able to leave the house. Well, I got back home, and he was acting normal. I went to go clean his litter, and then I went to go take it outside. Well, when I came back inside, he was growling. And then I turned around and started walking, and he jumps down and like charges me from behind, and his little claw like didn't really break the skin or anything, but I felt it. And so I booked it out my back door, and I was outside on the deck by myself for an hour in tears because I was too scared to go back into my own house.
I mean, so what you're describing is like a difficult enough experience, but then on top of that, you have previous trauma from a cat. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us what happened before?
Yeah, so when I was probably around 12 or so, we had this cat. Her name was Random, because the way we got her was there was a kid just giving away free kittens out of his backpack one day, and we were like, okay, sure. She was a little volatile, and then, she got fixed, and we thought it would fix it, whatever. Well, my mom went to go open the door on this particular night, and the cat just lunges for her, like full on, like had the wall not been there, would have gotten her face. We were terrified because the cat went berserk. We hid under the blanket. It was spitting and hissing and circling, and its tail puffed up and its teeth were out. Like, it was full on feral.
Sounds like quite the ordeal. And I don't know if people always are aware of how much damage cats can really do, but it sounds like it was a really stressful, terrifying an impactful situation for you.
Oh, yeah.
So with Billy, and Billy's the name of the cat that you
Yeah.
tried to adopt recently, correct?
Yes.
So for Billy, did these recent experiences trigger any of that for you? Did it remind you of cat
Yes.
when you were a child?
For me, any of those aggressive noises, or even if it's a warning, because I know hisses aren't always a signal of aggression. It's usually like, I'm annoyed, stop that, or whatever. But the moment it escalates to like growling and spitting, it just triggers this terror in me. It's harder for me too, because cats are so visual with their body language that I can't see what he's doing to know if I have to be scared or not. So those sounds alone scare me.
Right.
And then not knowing if he's just scared, which I honestly think he was. I think that he didn't like the noises. I think it was too much. And as much as he might have loved me and I love him, like, we both have trauma that neither of us could overcome enough to figure it out.
I think what you said was really powerful just now and important that, here could have been maybe this opportunity to heal from what you had gone through during your childhood. At the same time, I think we have to be aware of our limitations. And having a pet, again, it can provide healing. It can provide purpose, which is a really important thing for us to attain. But as I mentioned earlier, it can also be too much. And I think, as you're pointing out, because cats communicate so much through body language, I think is really admirable to kind of say, hey, I can't read this cat's body language. This isn't a good fit.
With cats, when they're like that, you can't exactly touch them. It's gonna irritate them. With a dog, I could like feel what they're doing and be like, okay, like they're not gonna attack me. But the minute he got out of the room we reconfined him to, and the way my body reacted, I immediately knew like I can't keep him.
If I may, when we're trying to heal from trauma and we're trying to cultivate and develop a sense of purpose, having a pet can be a great way to do that. However, sometimes it can be so much that it actually has the opposite effect and causes us to forget our sense of purpose. For instance, sometimes dealing with a pet who has that many needs might cause burnout. It might cause a lack of alignment or falling out of alignment. If it seems like a good idea but ends up being too much, we can feel this obligation to continue doing something. But also the past trauma and grief itself, that like these experiences could actually just end up sort of recapitulating them or reinforcing them, if you will, and then it ends up doing more harm than good. So I guess my question for you, Precious, is for our listeners and viewers out there, if they find themselves dealing with, let's say, not just maybe a pet, it could be that, but any situation where they're trying to heal from their trauma and they find themselves overwhelmed, the situation is too much, even though they understand like this could be good, what would you say to them?
First, you have to calm your own nervous system before you can make any decisions about what to do moving forward. Because when you're in a state of like fight or flight and you're so just full of adrenaline and just so in those emotions in that moment, it's really hard to separate from them and analyze what's happening and why and make the best decision logically. And so what I found helpful was to talk to very trusted friends who understood what I was dealing with and could help me kind of talk through what I was feeling and why and his behaviors and why that could potentially be happening. And then family that was willing to come and help me reconfine him and help me feel safe in my house until he could be picked up again. Just having that support and community is invaluable.
What you're saying is once you were able to calm and reach out and talk to people who could understand that situation, you then did the next thing that you could do to try to regulate again, and that was help find a home for Billy, a place where he could stay that wasn't going to continually trigger, you and therefore agitate Billy.
Yeah, because cats can really, like animals, play off of your emotions, and I'm sure he could tell that I was all out of sorts, and he didn't understand why I wasn't acting normal with him. And luckily, the person that gave him to us is able to take him back in and really care for him, and we're able to come visit him, and that really gave my heart a lot of peace.
Precious, I really, really appreciate you sharing your story, because I think for a lot of people out there, they might feel that they have somehow failed if they are in the process of trying to heal from a past trauma, if they aren't able to accomplish some specific goal. But I really love the way that you were able to pivot and honestly end up doing what it sounds to me like was the right thing in the end for everybody. And I love the way that you still find some healing and forward movement, and also just kind of recognize this isn't about being perfect. This isn't about letting anybody down. You tried, you gave it your best. And sometimes I think with trauma, we forget that we are still learning and we deserve that space to figure things out about ourselves. You're still struggling, and if you find that you try something that seems like it could help you heal and it doesn't work out, you're not broken, you're human. And the next step is to learn that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be authentic. You have to be honest with yourself about what you can handle. Super huge thank you to my guest, Precious Perez, today for taking time to speak with me. I will link her link tree below. You should definitely check out her music. Also, stay tuned. There are lots of exciting things in Precious's future. She is one of the busiest people that I know and one of the most talented people that I know.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been amazing to have safe space to share this story and this trauma publicly, because I've never really talked about it in a public forum. So it's been really amazing to kind of get to express that and heal that way as well. And I've already written a song about Billy, so maybe you'll hear that in the future.
I'm such a fan of yours. I honestly cannot wait. If this video spoke to you today, hit that like button, share it, and drop a comment below to let us know how it helped you. And tell me what gives you a sense of purpose right now. As always, be kind to yourself. Thank you for watching, and stay safe.